setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. So we should be near. This might be on there at this point. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, looks like we're on there. Okay, so my name's Mandy and I'm with COVID Recovery Iowa. And today I have another COVID Recovery Iowa staff person, and her name is Angela Shuley. And she focuses on our domestic violence concerns across the state. And so she's going to talk to us today about teen dating, domestic violence, and the pandemic. And she's got a PowerPoint that she's going to share with us today. And anytime throughout the presentation, if you have any questions or comments, I'm going to monitor that the comment boxes. So feel free to ask her a question, and she says it's okay to interrupt her, and I'll get those questions to her. So thanks, Angela. Have at it.
All right. Hello, everybody. So I hope everybody's having a great day today. We're over halfway through the week, so that's good. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go with the PowerPoint that I created. And with COVID Recovery Iowa, just know that we do have a 24/7 hotline. And I will also share the hotline numbers with you after the PowerPoint is completed. So we're going to discuss the teen dating during the pandemic. And as we know, domestic violence is definitely a huge barrier that a lot of people are facing during this pandemic. And it also comes across with teens. So what is teen dating violence? Teen dating violence is a type of intimate partner violence. It occurs between two people in a close relationship. Just like any type of domestic violence, it can also happen with teens within the same aspect as adults do. We go through the phases of teen dating. The crush phase is the starting period with anything that we go through, even with adults. Just like teens, we go through crush phases. And then you go into the honeymoon phase. And it's the I love yous, and you start complimenting each other. And this can be an extreme part within this phase for teens. It's the best and, of course, the worst period during a relationship. This is where you guys start to fight sometimes. And then, it may start to die out with the I love yous, and the compliments start to phase out as well. And of course,
I have a thought, Angela. I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and toss out that hotline number a couple of times, because I'm just thinking that some of this information could be a trigger for some folks. And so if at any time you feel like you are in need of some emotional support, you can give us a call. So the 24/7 one is 1-800-447-1985. So call us if you need us at any point.
Thanks, Mandy. And then we will also go into once the I love you and the honeymoon phase kind of fades out, we go into the burnout phase. And this definitely is where you start to feel like, oh, do I really want to be in this relationship? And then the final is the freedom of breakup, finding another person, or you just completely are done with that individual. Words to live by. Interactions between teens can seem like normal interactions, especially if the teen is unaware that they're experiencing a domestic violence situation. Examples of this would be eliminating the victim of seeing their friends or messaging their friends, and then putting the victim down from name calling, gaslighting, and having the roller coaster of the emotions to the relationship. Gaslighting, of course, is where it tends to where the victim is being felt like they're going crazy from the person that's calling them crazy. So that would be a form of gaslighting. The face of domestic violence is not biased, just like regular domestic violence with adults, it also with teens. It can be physical violence, any sexual violence, psychological aggression, and stalking. Any of these can be a significant amount of, through Instagram or even social media. With the stalking, it can definitely take part of teen dating. Physical violence and sexual violence, forcing the other to engage in these type of activities when there definitely is a no, can often happen with teens, ages from even 12 years all the way up to 18. Psychological aggression is the use of verbal and nonverbal communication. So similar to gaslighting, if you have a teen that is in a relationship The other person can emotionally make them feel like they're not themselves. And these are definitely signs to look for in your teens. And then we always want to remember to indicate to our teens that love is not abuse. These are just the actual statistics. It says nearly 1 in 11 females and approximately 1 in 15 male high school students report having experienced physical dating violence in the last year. And of course, about 1 in 9 females and 1 in 36 males within the high school students are reporting having experienced any sexual dating violence in the last year. 26 of women and 15% of men who are victims of contact sexual violence, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime. They'll experience this before the age of 18. Teen dating violence is not shared equally across all groups. Sexual minority groups are disproportionately affected by all forms of violence, and some racial, ethnic minority groups are also affected by many types of other types of violence.
I have a question. It's not, feel free if anybody has a question to put it in the comments, but I'm just feeling like the numbers are higher than maybe I would have thought. And so I'm wondering what you think is a good way to improve those numbers.
I think with educating our teens, I currently have 2 teens within my home, and my daughter definitely, because I work in domestic violence on a regular basis, she knows the signs. And I think that a lot of teens don't realize those signs are there. They think it's normal. For instance, like if a girl is dating a gentleman, and he's throwing out different types of language to her and making her feel good at one point in time, and then the next day he's gaslighting her, they don't realize that that's a form of abuse. And so I think talking to our teens and knowing different signs can really allow these teens to use these coping skills and saying, hey, this is not okay. And being able to stand up for themselves is key. And I think with us as adults, we never really learn coping skills. And I think that this could be a very big deal of learning these coping skills at this age. Even just saying, hey, how you're talking to me is not okay. Or if, there is sexual intimidation, hey, I feel uncomfortable with how you're coming at me or how you're talking to me. It's not okay. So I think that could be a huge deal that we do as adults to our kids. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. So signs and symptoms. So a lot of teens, when they're going through domestic violence and they don't want an adult to know, they tend to stay in their rooms, or they tend to eliminate themselves from family dinners, or, even with unfortunate suicidal ideations can also be an issue. Things to look for would be experienced symptoms of depression and anxiety. And it doesn't mean that, a lot of kids, especially during the pandemic, are going through these type of feelings. So I'm not saying, hey, as my kiddo, going through a domestic violence situation with a partner, but definitely look for these signs, especially if they are, starting to date, or if they are starting to have feelings for somebody else while they're in high school, or even in middle school. Engaging in unhealthy behaviors like using tobacco, drugs, or alcohol. And then, of course, exhibiting antisocial behaviors. If there's a lot of lying, if there's stealing, bullying, or hitting, definitely, look at these type of signs and these type of symptoms just to see if there is something that's more serious going on. And then, as I mentioned, thoughts of suicide. And of course, don't wait. Definitely, engage with your child and communicate, asking those questions. Is there something that I can help you with? Is there something that's going on with school? Or even if you know that they're dating, is there something going on with your boyfriend or girlfriend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that isolating themselves part can be an indicator for all kinds of things. But like you said, check on them, ask them questions. And hopefully they'll reach the point where they feel comfortable telling you sooner rather than later.
Definitely. I know with my daughter, there's been a few of her friends have been in the dating scene, and I've given my daughter the opportunity to talk to me about those type of situations, because she, of course, isn't dating at this time, but her friends are. And, when she tells me the signs, inform her, always be mindful of these signs, because these are signs of abuse, or they're signs of these individuals crossing their boundaries, and they shouldn't be okay. You should not have to deal with that ever. So definitely talk to your teens about those type of boundaries and setting boundaries, good boundaries. So, all right. So as we can see, we have all probably seen a lot of these on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat. And these tend to be the social media go-tos for teens. Not so much Facebook, I don't think. My daughter says I'm old school.
Mhm.
But TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat are the go-tos. So even monitoring these, I know all three of these can show different ideas of what a relationship could be. And of course, it can also lead into bullying. And that's also goes for online bullying. It's a form of abuse. And children should definitely be monitored when it comes to, are they being stalked, or are they being bullied through any of these these applications that you can download on any type of iPad or even your phones. So
Do you have any good tips on how to monitor?
I know there's quite a few different like applications that you can download as far as parentals go. There's one called Bark, and I just actually saw that online the other day, and it can monitor if there's, let's just say there's a sexual content that comes up on your kid's phone, it will alert the parent.
Oh,
I don't know if it's free, but I do know that there is that option. And I think there are a lot of free ones out there that you can monitor your child's messages and what content comes in on their phones.
yeah. And,
So.
and it can take effort to figure that out, but well worth the effort.
Definitely.
Once your child's experienced something and seen something, you can't just erase that from their brain. So I think it's important to take the time to figure out something that will work to help you monitor their whatever they're on, whatever platform.
Exactly. And I know with, as long as not every parent has a really good relationship with their child. I mean, we all make mistakes. And I know with me, I ask my kids for their phone. But if the child is, of course, not as easy to get along with or whatever the case, it is definitely up to a parent to monitor those. So I would say if you do have a good relationship with your kids, make sure that, you're following maybe once a month, just saying, hey, can I go through your phone, or whatever the case. So, it is you want to make sure that you're monitoring your child, but also giving them their privacy, but not to the point of, is this being dangerous to my child? So.
Yep, good point. It's a balance and it can be tricky. So.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so next slide. Connecting to the good, the bad, and the ugly. And social media definitely puts our kids into I want to look like this person. And this is a huge issue for girls, especially, and maybe even kiddos that are, I have a boy and a girl. So my son isn't so much about the likes as my daughter. So, if you have kiddos who are definitely doing social media, Instagram and Snapchat, you can see how many likes they're getting as far as their selfies go. Cyberbullying is definitely an issue that is all across the board. My daughter, she'll make comments, and then sometimes these cyberbullies will go on there and they'll bully these kids, saying, well, why are you saying these kinds of things? And it makes them feel stupid. It makes them feel, not self-worth. So it's definitely an issue that we need to monitor with our kids. And then of course, making comparisons, girls and boys will compare themselves to movie stars or even their own friends. So, and then finding the fake friends and the less face-to-face interactions because of COVID. Kids aren't able to go and do the things that they used to do. We can't get a large group together and do, large parties, or even going to the bowling alley, or things that we used to be able to do. And because of the less face-to-face interactions, there's more social media interactions. So these are taking the good, the bad, and the ugly and trying to find a balance. Trying to make sure that our kids aren't taking these things to heart when they do see these things on social media.
Your self-worth should not be measured in likes for sure.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I'm also thinking about our teen support group too. If you are not finding good connections right now, I would recommend coming on our teen support group. It's virtual and it's teens all across Iowa, and that's 4 to 5 on Mondays. We have a preteen one too that I run. That's 4 to 5 on Wednesdays. So if you need some connections that are more healthy than the ones you've got going on right now, that might be a good option.
Thanks, Mandy. And we'll run that by again too, just so we can remember at the end. So how can we help? And I know that even as adults, we tend to, a lot of us adults really don't know much according to teens, but even if we can't help, maybe there's a friend that can maybe help you through the process. Finding good balance with friendships, finding friends that aren't going to judge you or make you feel less than worth. Even friendships, it doesn't have to necessarily be an intimate partner. There can be violence within friendships too. And that's the thing, is that you have to kind of see the red flags. If a friend's making you feel inferior or even having some type of teen domestic violence, with the gaslighting, as we mentioned before, those really aren't good friends. And those are also abusive relationships. It doesn't have to be just an intimate partner relationship. So how can we help? Of course, getting involved at school. And then, of course, school-based programs or even outside programs that you can, be entertained or get yourself involved with. Even people that aren't in your school district can always be beneficial, making new friends. Providing support for yourself, parent programs and trainings. These are things that your, parents can do, as well as yourself. If there's trainings out there that can maybe help you want to learn different techniques of how to be a better friend, or even things of this nature, teen dating violence, take in courses that will help enhance your relationships all across the board.
I think sometimes people think that this might not apply to them. They might see this and think, no, either maybe my child's too young or my child's relationships are good. And I just think it's important information to have in your pocket, because you just never know what you might be dealt.
Definitely.
And then you can be more prepared, or you can have the information to help somebody else too.
Exactly. And I think with my domestic violence background, I am a survivor of domestic violence as well. Even teen domestic violence, sadly. But the thing of it is that with my kids, my daughter sees what I do, and she's able to help her friends through their process. So, and even realizing the signs and seeing the signs that her friends are going through has helped her tremendously to know, if I get into a relationship, I know what to expect and I know what I want out of a relationship, and that's not it. So
That's good.
there's that too. So, and then community outreach for teens and parents, engage in these activities with your kids. And then this is where, as parents, we do get busy, and we just need to find time, even if it's an hour of playing Scrabble with your kids, or, your teens, or even playing a video game that your son wants you to, if he's upstairs playing on his video game, just to even go in his bedroom and just hang out, just finding those ways to engage their kids, to know that, hey, you can talk to me. It's a safe environment. How is your day? How can I help you? What's going on in your life? Because teens don't always come to us adults and say, hey, I had a pretty rough day and this boy pushed me at school, so just trying to find ways to engage and build that rapport with your kids. So
sometimes they come to you when you least expect it.
Exactly. So, and then of course, watch for signs, monitor behaviors, and communicate frequently. I know a lot of girls at this age are going through the whole, I'm not skinny enough. And boys are actually going through that too. And it's just trying to do the self-love, teaching your children that if they're kind of like being violent in their own heads to themselves, And so I don't want this just to be about domestic violence with another partner, as we said, friendships. It can also be within themselves. And we want to make sure that our kids know that, they are loved and that they need to be feeling that self-love. If there's something that they're not feeling, like my daughter, they go through those times of not feeling worthy, and we want to make sure that they are building those strong, independent-minded thoughts of, hey, I am worth everything. I'm worth, everything that I have coming to me. I'm definitely worth a good relationship, and just making sure that they're all well-rounded. So, and then of course, engaging in age-level support groups. As Mandy mentioned, you have a preteen support group and then another teen support group, correct?
Yep.
So yeah, we have 2 of those. And then for parents, we also have our Coping During COVID Times support group. So there's, different groups that we can all get involved in to help enhance our relationships.
Mhm.
And then we have our COVID Recovery Iowa flyer. Just indicating that we are here 24/7, and it's eligible for every Iowan. It is free, it's confidential. We have plenty of counseling services, group activities, of course, support groups and resources. And we do follow up, which is great. So if there's one time that you call us, don't feel that you can't call us again, because we are definitely here for support. And we do virtual, sessions, chat, or phone call. We actually have a texting is Text Buddy. We have that in place. It's called Chat Buddy, I believe.
Right.
And then, you can call the Iowa Worm Line. And then, of course, we have our COVID Recovery Iowa website and our Facebook groups. There's a lot of great groups out there. So, and then we have our resource. Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a group on our Facebook page that's specific for domestic violence?
We do not as of yet, but that could be in place here shortly, because I've had a few other individuals request it. If it does, it will be on our domestic violence past, present, and future page.
Okay.
So definitely go and like that page. And that one is actually where you have to go in and friend request us, basically. And I'm the admin, so I will, it's definitely a safe Facebook page. So it's not just random people being able to go into the group. So.
And we could probably share this presentation in there, right? So that it was accessible. And then what else might people find on that page?
So yeah, so with that page, I have a lot of different resources. One day I will post about, not really memes, but like little supportive quotes. And then we will also post different resources of the different agencies that are all across Iowa. I will also post different support groups that you can attend should ours not get there in time with you wanting to join a support group. And this is all across the state of Iowa. So if there's, I know the Iowa Children and Families of Iowa, they have support groups, and also the Iowa Coalition. They also do support groups online too. So yeah, and then we have these resources. As I mentioned, we have the COVID Recovery Iowa website, the Iowa Coalition Against Domestic Violence, and on there they actually do trainings, which is awesome because there's advocates out there. Even if you want to volunteer, they have volunteer times that you can contact them and do volunteer work through Iowa Coalition. And then on the Dating Matters, this is actually a good tool. It gives you like little pamphlets that you can print off. So, and then we have the Texting Love Is. You can text to 77054, and then they will actually connect you to a peer advocate. So. All right, so that is the end of that. Let's So I think if we have any questions, we can direct those to our Facebook page, and then I will be able to answer them from there. And I think we may have lost Mandy. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this presentation. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. There's a lot of good information on this PowerPoint that I will actually be able to post on our Facebook page. So with that being said, what I will do is I will leave it open for any questions. And then if there's any questions that come in after this, I will be able to answer them for you guys. So yes. Okay. And I hope that, you know, a lot of this can be beneficial for, as Mandy and I mentioned, for anybody that, you know, if you're in the workforce with domestic violence, or even as, you know, as a parent. So I hope some of this can be really beneficial and crucial to, you know, teaching or to even talking to your teens about domestic violence. So, but I appreciate everybody coming today. And like I said, if you have any questions, definitely reach out to us. We are here 24/7, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you. Hope everybody has a wonderful day.